Alright y'all, today we're going to look at comparing information on circle graphs. So in our previous lessons we talked about how a circle graph represents the percent. So everything, kind of like think about these as pieces of pie. Each of these pieces of pie together represents the whole pie, or 100%. So all of these percents need to add up to be a total of 100. So this one says the circle graph shows the results of a survey of 150 people. So we know that that's going to be my total. About their favorite Disney movie. How many more people preferred Toy Story than Lion King? Well, these are what we need to do. We see how many more means you're comparing those two. So we're comparing Toy Story to Lion King. So 22% for Toy Story, 15% for Lion King. So the first thing we're going to need to do is subtract those percent. So Toy Story minus Lion King, because more people liked 22% like Toy Story and only 15% like Lion King. Okay, so we need to find the difference between these. So 22 minus 15, well, we can borrow. 12 minus 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, I thought it was 7. So 7% people. So it's not just 7, it's 7% more people. Okay? If that's not the answer, we need to figure out what it is. So what we're going to do is going to put our numbers, percent, part, whole, just like that. Okay? So when we look at this, the part actually represents the difference between what we looked at. So I'm just going to write the difference, the how many more. So we know that it was 7%. We don't know how many people out of the 150. But if it's 7%, stop and think about that. If there were 100 people, it would be 7 people. Well, this total is more than 100, so we know it's going to be over 7 people. Okay? If we could find a scale factor or factor of change, we could do that. But in this situation, we're going to have to cross multiply and divide. Okay? Or, like we've already looked at in our previous lesson, we could take the total, multiply by the decimal, well, the percent, but write it as a decimal, and that will get us to the part. So that's the other way we could do it. So we know our total was 150. 7 hundredths is the same thing as 7%. So that was what we could do as well. Okay? So just for time purposes, I'm going to show you with the calculator because I want to make sure you have enough practice, but just make sure you know how to do this without a calculator. So 150 times 7 divided by 100, you're getting, when you do it this proportion way, 10.5. Okay, let's try it with this calculator with this way. 150 times 7 hundredths, you still get 10 and 5 tenths. Well, stop and think about it. Can you have 10 and a half people? No. So we're going to estimate and say about 11. Okay, so we'll say about 11 people preferred Toy Story than Lion King. It's always important to write out what that number represents that we solve for. And again, that makes sense because if it was 7 out of 100 people, 150 is more than 100, so we know it's going to be a little bit over 7. Okay, let's try one more and then get you guys some practice problems. How many more people chose Pinocchio than Frozen? So we're comparing Pinocchio and Frozen, so the first thing we need to do is look at their percents, Pinocchio to Frozen. We're going to subtract the percents first. 28% minus 10% equals 17%. If this were multiple choice, I bet 17 would be a trick answer because it does represent something, but it's not 17 people, it's 17%. So we're going to write our proportion. I like to make it like a tic-tac-toe, it's faster to write. Part, whole. So part, whole, numbers, percent. So we know that the 17 was my percent. This was my difference to see how many people more like Pinocchio than Frozen. And we still have a total of 150 people. So unless they tell me that they surveyed a different amount, we're going to keep that total the same. Okay, here again, we can cross multiply and then divide. So again, for time purposes, I'm just going to use a calculator, but make sure we know how to do this math without a calculator. 150 times 17 is my cross product, divided by 100. So I'm getting x is equal to 25.5. Okay, I'm going to show you the second strategy just to help you out. So we have the total times the percent, but written as a decimal, and that equals to the part. So the total was 150. 17% is 1700ths. That's how you read that. And we can go ahead and see what we get. Should get the same thing. Yep. So that's how you know we did it right. Again, we can't have 25.5 people, so we're going to estimate this to say about 26. I should have put the word more there, I'm sorry. That first one, about 11 more people preferred. So about 26 more people chose Pinocchio and Frozen. Again, just take your time on these, label what these numbers represent, and you should be doing okay. As always, please reach out to your teacher if you need help, and good luck.